What's up, guys? I'm Chris, and today you're watching a magic review on Off Stage by Alexander Marsh and the 1914. What is Off Stage? Off Stage is an instant download that you can pick up at the 1914 for £25, which is 30 US dollars. I'm not sure, somewhere around there. Or if you're Canadian like me, it's $43. And what this is a compilation of different routines developed by Alexander Marsh, who, if any of you know who he is, you probably have picked up his billet masterclass, Thy Will Be Done. There's a few releases that he's done with the 1914, but he is a stage mentalist who performs around the world in a show called Champions of Magic, which I actually saw a few years ago, and it was really good. Anyway, this is his close-up stuff. Close-up, parlor, whatnot. So off stage, as the name says. So that's what this is. What do you get? Well, it's an instant download, so you don't physically get anything, but you digitally get a lot. So first we'll go over, I guess, kind of the overall difficulty. So this is going to be different depending on which routine you're doing, but overall consensus, there's nothing in here that is too advanced. So, I wouldn't necessarily say start with this, right? Some experience is obviously better, but there's nothing in here that is too complicated. The overall quality of both video, sound, it's all very, very good. It's very well shot. If any of you have any of the 1914 downloads, it takes place in the same room, the casting desk. But yeah, it's all very good. So we can kind of also cover angles and setup and reset here, because most of this stuff can be done impromptu with borrowed items or objects, because you're not really using props. Now there is, I'll go over where there is some setup when I get to the specific routines, and same with where you might need a magic and mentalism prop, which it's in one of the 4 routines, and it's something you can just carry in your pocket. It takes up no space. So I'll get to that when I get to that, when we go over specific, but I mean, overall, in general, most of this can be done borrowed, impromptu, on the spot, and it's super good. So let's get into what the routines are. So first off, when you're watching this download, it's in sections, right? So you'll have kind of an opening chapter that talks about what the project is, and then you'll have a confession by Alexander, who really doesn't like doing close-up, intimate performances, right? He's a stage mentalist, but he pushed through, and he came up with this stuff because he admits that a lot of the time you can get your bookings from doing something in a small, intimate, personal setting, right? So he wanted to have stuff that he was comfortable doing, and anybody who's seen his stuff before, he isn't an overly serious mentalist, right? He likes to have fun. He likes to have kind of like a playful type vibe to his mentalism, and it shows in this stuff. But if you're more of a serious mentalist, there are also ways that you can take this stuff and just present it differently, because the material is extremely good. So whether you want to kind of have the playful aspect like he does, or if you want to have more of a serious type of presentation, you can do that too. Okay, so the first routine is called Paperback Reader, and what this is a impromptu, ungimmicked book test. So this can use any book, right? It can be a borrowed book. What is also neat about this is if you have gimmicked books that you've already purchased, this will also apply to those. So you can still perform those book tests with the method that's intended in those book tests, but you can add another layer or another phase to it using this. And it's really good. It's not brand new. It's not entirely original, but I think the handling and the tips that Alex goes over makes this unique to other methods that are similar to this. So with this, what's really nice about this, and one thing that Alex wanted to get away from, was the mentalist handling the book, in the sense that, you know, you still are holding the book, but in other book tests, you would riffle and have the participant tell you when to stop, right? So you kind of have full control over that, right? So when you think of like a riffle force, right, with cards, you have that control. So what Alex has done here is he has made it so that it's a lot more fair, right? You're holding out the book, you have your participant go to a page and look at it, right? So they're doing the riffle, right? Or they're opening up somewhere where they want. And they can examine the book if it's not their own, but if it's their own, obviously they know it's an ungimmick book. So I guess, long story short, I think that this is a really, really good impromptu book test. I think the method is really good. And I think even if you use other book tests or have other ways, that you will probably incorporate some of the things that you learn in this. So right there, I think that this is worth picking up. After that, you have subconscious currency, which is a serial number divination on a bill, or a borrowed bill, right? Looked to be borrowed. So with this, the routine itself is really good. So essentially you are borrowing a bill from a participant, and then you are divining the serial number. But there's so much more to it, not necessarily the routine, but to the download than just that. Because one of the things that you're going to get with this is Alex's way to memorize any serial number in under a minute. So he goes over a mnemonic system, which you may already have heard of or may already know. So I have been using a mnemonic system for numbers 1 through 20 that has worked really well for me. The one that he presents here isn't that one. It's similar, right? But it's something that he finds easier and faster, and just a better way to do this. So I do like it. I don't know if I'll switch from the one that I've been using, just because that one's already in my head. But for anybody who doesn't already have a mnemonic or a memory system, this is super good. And I may just actually switch over to that one. But he goes over a way that you can take this memory system, these mnemonics, and make it so that you memorize this serial number in like a minute, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less, but it works, right? Because like I said, it's similar to what I use, so I know it works because I've been using this other one. Basically, the first time I tried it, I tried it because I didn't think that it would work. And I was watching Richard Osterland's, one of his DVDs, and it was like a memory test where he has a list 1 through 20, has audience members shout out different objects that he will apply to each number. Then he gives them the whiteboard and has other audience members call out random numbers, and he can instantly say what that is. And so I tried the whole mnemonic system based on that, thinking there's no way that it's that easy or that it would work, right? But it did, and it's great. So anyway, it's somewhat like that. But with this routine, you're going to learn a really good and deceptive switch, right? So once you memorize your serial number, you never have to memorize another one. As long as you keep this, you'll always get this one back. It's really clever, really deceptive. The switch that he teaches works really well. And what I like about this is that I use Canadian currency, right? So I have plastic bills. Well, he's using, I think it's euros, right? I don't know, but it's plastic currency as well. So he has had to adapt from paper to plastic, and this works that way. He also goes over if you are in the US and you still have plastic or paper money, another switch. So this is overall is really good, the routine itself, and then all the added bonus content that you're getting with it, and the subtleties, and so there's some really good, a lot of really good subtleties throughout this project as well. After that, you have a routine called Spin the Bottle, which is super fun. Okay, I haven't performed this one yet, but just knowing how it works, right? I think there's certain things, a lot of the time with my reviews, I try to go out and practice and perform and learn the content, right? But when it comes to mentalism, a lot of the time, if you already are familiar with the principles and you have done other routines that use those principles and methods, then you know whether or not something works. And with this, it's a fun routine that you can do with people. It's, like I said, it's called Spin the Bottle. The way that Alex presents this, it's based on a person's first kiss. So he gets the names of people's first kisses, gets them written down on index cards or whatever. They can be business cards, it doesn't matter. You can do this with a few people, you can do this with a dozen people. With this method, you can do it with as many people as you want, and you don't have to worry about messing up, as long as you don't have to worry about getting anything wrong, as long as you perform the method the right way. I'm sure there's a better way to word that, but it's a really clever method, okay, the way that he has put this all together. So you don't, like this, how can I say this without giving too much away? Like, I don't want to say it's marked, because it's not really. There's no setup, there's no preparation. You do this on the fly. So whether you're using business cards, or if you're using, if somebody has a stack of paper or like a notepad or whatever, you can use any of that, right? You are going to do something to a piece that can just be done as you're handing them out. And then from there, you will know which name came from which person, even if there is a dozen different slips of paper. So it's really, really good. It's very well thought out and put together, super good. But ultimately, this is a fun piece, because what you're going to do is you then place the pieces of paper out in a circle, you put the bottle in the middle, you spin it. Where it lands, you'll see the name of this person's first kiss, and then present it however you want, but you kind of go around and you can say, this is yours, and you'll be right? When it comes to the last one, you obviously know that whatever name is on that paper belongs to this person, right? So you can present this in a number of ways. You can use mind reading to divine the name without looking at it, but Alex has a really fun way of kind of finishing this whole routine off. Now, if you don't want to go the route of the first kiss, you don't have to, right? Because one thing here that I thought, now I don't want to come across with any kind of opinion here when it comes to what I'm about to say, but if you have 6 people that you're doing this for, right? And 3 are male and 3 are female, okay? Unless they have a different sexual preference, right, than heterosexual, when you pick up a card that has a male name, you're going to assume that it's from one of the females, right? So somebody could say, that limits the options, right? So if you feel that way, or if you don't want to go the route of the first kiss, you could do anything, really. Write down your favorite animal, write down the name of your mother, or whatever, right? That way it's not going to be limited to male or female. It's just something I thought of, and again, it doesn't really matter, but what I want to say is that you can take this method and present it however you want. So take that however you will. After that, we have a routine called Memories. And this is really cool because this uses a different principle. So with this one, you will need something that can't be borrowed, but if you're a mentalist, you probably already have it. If you don't, you should probably get it. Alex goes over some really good tips on how to get the most out of this and how to use it, and just some things that I think are really good to know, even if you don't perform this routine. But it's a great routine, so you should. What's done here is he has a couple people think of a childhood memory. Okay, so they're going to think of that memory, and he's going to say, okay, I want you to focus on the location and who you were with, if you were with somebody. And then here, think of a location or your age at this time, right? So with that, they think of those things, and what's awesome is that nothing is written down, not by your participants, right? So all they do is simply think of a memory. The only thing that'll ever be written down is you writing down your thoughts. Okay, so I think that's super powerful, because there's no way that you could peek anything, right? If people think that maybe you're seeing the information, well, they won't with this, because they never write anything down. So this uses a couple different principles in mentalism, and then also a prop or a tool, I guess. But I think the way that this is all put together is extremely deceptive and also very fun. And again, even if this one isn't 100% impromptu, for the fact that you have to carry a little bit something extra, it still comes across that way. And as long as you're carrying this, I guess it kind of is impromptu, because you can just do it on the fly, on the spot. You don't need anything else that's special, no setup, no preparation. And then finally, you have a routine called charades or charades. Again, another really fun one. Oh, I know I've kind of said all of these are fun, but they are. And that's Alex's personality, that's his style, that's kind of what he goes for, the comedic, playful mentalism, right? And I think that if you're sitting in a casual environment with a group of friends, or if you are going out and meeting people, right, then this stuff fits in better than the serious mentalist, right? So I think that there is definitely a place for all of this, and it's perfect for the casual performer or casual environment. So with charades, you will have 3 people write down a different thing to act out. Okay, so the way that this is done in the performance video, he does a film, a book, and a song. Now, this is a 3-phase routine. The first phase, when you watch this, you're going to smile. You might chuckle a little bit, because your participants are going to do all the work for you, which is awesome. So this is basically self-working. It's impromptu. It's there's no get ready. They will do the hardest part for you. Okay, so from there on, it's all presentation. But this is a 3-phase. So the first one, your first participant is going to just do the basic charades, right? They're going to act out the film. Next, you are going to go for the book, but now it's your turn. Okay, so this is how the mentalist plays charades, and you will have your participant just think of how they would mime their book, or the title of the book, and you will divine that. The last one is the song, so you will have the participant, you'll tell them forget the miming, okay, just think of the song in your head, and you will divine the song. It's a playful routine. It's fun. It's something that is familiar to other people, because everybody at some point in their life has played charades, just like at some point people have probably played spin the bottle, right? Or at least they know of it. So those are the 5 routines on the project. Now again, actually before I just kind of ramble on, we'll just jump straight into the pros and cons, because I'm just going to kind of be repeating stuff if we say it now and then again later. But the negatives, I don't see any negatives in this at all, because this is material that I think anybody can use. Even if Alex's style doesn't fit yours, you can still present this however you want. So the routines are very, very good. They're very well thought out, put together. All the handling throughout and the methods tied in with the subtleties and different principles. Brilliant. Yeah, I can't give it a negative because your style might not be the same as Alex's, because all you have to do is present it differently. Now, the pros, it's strong. It's strong material. Alex wanted to come up with stuff that he's done on stage and kind of adapt it to a social casual setting. Stuff that is good and is powerful enough to be done on stage as it is in a casual setting, just kind of more laid back, more fun, more intimate. Also, like I mentioned a number of times in this, there's really no setup, no get ready. You can do this on the spot. If you're in conversation and it comes up that you're a mentalist or you're a magician or whatever, right? Somebody says, I want to do something. You're always going to be able to do one, if not all of these with what's around you. You know, even if you carry a notepad or a stack of billets or business cards, right? There's nothing out of place where they're going to say, what's that, right? You're either using slips of paper or, you know, it's all very, very impromptu and ready to go. It's simple, it's fun, it's strong. What more could you want? So with that, I don't know what else to say without kind of repeating myself. I've went through everything. There's really, when I said that I would go over angles and stuff in the routines and difficulty, nothing is difficult. And the one thing that you may not currently use or may not be that good with, that's where Alex goes over ways that he's gotten better with it, some tips to help you. So I think that you should give this a try for that one routine and you'll probably end up using it. And I think that's also the only routine in here that would have any possible angle issues. But if you're sitting around with a group of people in a circle or a casual setting at a table, they're not going to see what you're doing, right? Because there's not going to be anybody behind you. This isn't really meant to be done walk around and stuff, and some of it you could, but for what it's meant for, you're usually going to be in a situation where you're not surrounded. And not that this can't be done surrounded, because most of it can, but for what it's worth, the way that it's meant to be done, you don't have to worry about any of those things like angles. I definitely think this is worth the price. I think it's all really good. So with that, I'll leave a link in the description on where you can pick this up. It's just over at the 1914. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. Please give this video a like. Join the Chris Edwards Magic Secret Access group on Facebook. And with that, we'll see you at the next review.